Hi guys, today we're going to tear down this piece of equipment, and it is a transformer. It's a Foster transformer, and yeah, I'm here in the UK, and it's not a lot else in there really. It's just a transformer, but what's unusual about it is, of course, it's a very high voltage transformer. The scale runs up to 6 kilovolts, and it's got two ranges, 6 and 3. I think it might actually be 5 and 2.5, but you know, that's probably some overshoot, because this isn't regulated in any way, shape or form. Okay, we've got variability here, but like I said, not regulated. Some breakers, so we've got the high voltage breaker on the right and the mains on the left, and that's about it really. Someone's had a good go at this. I'm not planning to repair it. I'm actually going to look at a couple of spares in it, but mainly this will go for recycling. Let's get it turned around and see what's going on. So yeah, as we can see, there is absolutely no back on this at all. Let me see if I can bring the light down a little bit lower, see if we can get a bit more light in there. And it's all pretty crusty. Looking right in the back, you might just be able to see that there is a what's the word I'm looking for, like a variable transformer, variac, in there. Just here we've got one of the high voltage leads coming out, and that's literally just tapped straight off the centre of the transformer. The other high voltage lead is just here, and truthfully at the moment I can't see where that goes. It goes somewhere behind this bracket here. We've got the mains going in, and someone has taken the fuse out, which is perhaps wise, and in there we can see a little bit of switch gear. So I'm going to see if I can pull this out of its chassis. There is no back, I don't have a back for it at all. At the moment, my thought is that I might, this is too big for my lab. I don't want it in my lab, it's physically too large. But this looks like a fairly deep rack mount size case. And I'm actually thinking that I might send the transformer for recycling, keep the variac on the front, put that in a small box, and just use that as a variable supply in the lab. I think that would be pretty handy. Yeah, and then actually use the chassis and the case for some CNC control electronics that I have in the other workshop, for which the case it's in isn't really very ideal, to be perfectly honest. So this might be quite a nice case for that purpose. It's a little bit rusty, but a bit of TLC with the industrial paints, and it'll be good as new. Okay, so it's apart, and the first bit of good news is actually the case. This turns out to be a 19-inch rack mount cabinet, so that's going to be pretty useful. I've got a few uses for that lined up already. So good news, free rack. Moving across then to the device itself, we can see that someone's had a little bit of rewiring going on, trying to make this thing work. So a few people may be wondering why I'm not going to just finish refurbishing this and use it myself or flog it. And the reason is actually I don't really think that this has a place in a modern electronics lab in the way that it is built. That's not to say we couldn't do loads of work and build more circuitry around it. But this is basically, there we go. So our primary, of course, 230, 1.1 amps. And our secondary, if I just shade that, we should be able to see that easier. Is a 2.5 and 5 kilovolts at 0.1 amps. There is no current limiting. There is no voltage regulation. You know, your protection is a fuse on your input line for the mains, which is, you know, not doing a lot really. And this breaker down here. So that's a 1.1 amp breaker on the mains side of things. If we trail across, we can see the wires. You know, all of these lugs are uninsulated, and the mains goes down into that switch towards the bottom, and that just taps off two different points on the variac to feed the meter. and of course to feed into the transformer, which gives you 2 different voltage ranges. The high voltage goes straight into the transformer itself, so there's no protection there at all, not even a fuse. And the other side goes onto the chassis, where it comes out on this second wire. So that's literally just a shared earth point. So nothing unusual about that, but you do need very, very good earth, and there's an extra earth pin down there. This is Variac. Let's have a look what we've got here. See if we can see the details of that. There we go, hopefully that is visible. So we have got branches for 240 volts, 270 volts, the brush, 0 volts on the other side, and something else that I can't quite read down the bottom. Yeah, so that looks in fairly decent condition. And we can see the wheel runs fine. It needs a little bit of cleaning on this bottom edge. It's got a lot of carbon buildup on there, but that's part of the course. But the carbon wheel itself looks good condition, or graphite or whatever it is, looks good condition. And then we're just tapping off the meter just here. I'm not entirely sure that this meter really... Yeah, this meter doesn't read the true voltage. It's actually a 246 volt meter AC. So it's actually using this Variac to indicate the voltage. So nothing really very true going on there. But there we have it, really. Yeah. But I thought I'd just give you a quick view inside a piece of old-fashioned transformer electronics. Of course, this thing here weighs a bloody ton. Okay, since we're dealing with high voltage, let's have a high voltage bonus. Here's another device littering up the lab. So yeah, Tunewell transformer, a neon sign transformer, this one. And yeah, 230 volts in, 5,000 earth 5,000 out at 25 milliamps. So I will actually be hanging on to this one. Let's crack it open, have a little look inside. It's not hard to open up. In the end here, it just has 2 inputs there for your high voltage cables, or your high voltage cable in one and the mains in the other, and another pair in the other end over here, so you can get your cables in and out. And of course, if I was to use this, I'd have to replace those with up-to-date cable glands, and that's all you can see, unfortunately, because the inside is completely potted at the bottom with some very dark, grungy, sticky stuff. So not a lot to see in here. We've got the inevitable diodes, transistor, and there is a relay there, interestingly, and some opto feedback, which will be just isolating the very high voltage side from the mains. There are some quite nice push high tension clips to attach the high voltage wires, and that's about all she wrote. So taking a quick look inside the lid, hardly a schematic, but anyway, we've got live neutral earth on one side and the high tension, and then the earth in the middle, and then the high tension on the other side. So that gives a total of 10,000 volts at 25 milliamps. So I hope you enjoyed that look at some crusty old transformers. If you did, please don't forget to like the video, and of course, go ahead, subscribe, and leave some comments down below. See you next time. Take care.